defined who we are as a people, who we are as a nation. And that meant finding, defining, and including in his dictionary American words like revolutionary and Americanized, and words from Native American culture like maize and canoe and snowshoe. He wanted his dictionary to reflect this new country at this period of time.
Okay, so your research for the book included embedding with Merriam-Webster at their headquarters. It's in Springfield, Massachusetts. What was that like?
It was a lot of fun. I persuaded the publisher of Merriam-Webster at the time, a guy named John Morse, to let me write a book and also to basically take me on as a lexicographer in training. So I had to learn the procedures for researching and writing about words. I've been curious about language and dictionaries since I was a kid. So this was this wonderful opportunity to explore how the sausage is made in curating contemporary English, having access to this absolute trove of archival information about the American language.
And in your time there, you were a bit obsessed, I think it's fair to say, with the idea of getting into the dictionary yourself, of writing a definition for a new word.
Totally. I mean, I'm obsessive by nature a little bit, and when I got there, my very first day, I met the guy that would become my editor, named Steve Perot, whose title is the best in maybe all of media. He was the director of defining. Love that. And when I saw Steve that first day, he said, well, what do you want to do while you're here? And I said, well, I want to write definitions. And he said, definitions that get in the dictionary? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, we'll see about that. And he wasn't just being dismissive, he was being realistic. Because this is incredibly hard work. I spent days, weeks working on definitions of words that professional lexicographers in the building would have banged out in much, much less time.
What's a word you pitched, and how did Steve Perot reject it, kindly or otherwise?
Well, I defined about 90 words, and 14 have made it so far into Merriam-Webster's online dictionary. I got microaggression, and safe space, and dogpile, and headbutt, words that were part of culture. And we think of them as, oh, those are pretty common, but it takes a while for words to bubble up and to sort of become part of the list of words that need to get in. But the words that got rejected, some of them I feel should be in there. And one that I really liked was a concussion-related word called the fencing response. It's what happens when someone sort of hits their head and their arms go up in the air. It's a scientific term. I thought that was going to get in, but it didn't. Others were more frivolous. I tried to define sportocrat, which means a executive for the IOC or the FIFA, body, these old men in blue blazers who are extremely privileged. And there's a bunch of that, and you'll see it occasionally in sports writing.
So words and their definitions can be political, and of course they can be controversial. Tell us about the covert operation from 1959.
To remove the F word from the dictionary, Don?
That's exactly it, yeah.
Yes, so the editor of The Third, Philip Gove, believed very much, this was a principle of this revolutionary dictionary, which generated tremendous cultural response after it was published in 1961, a backlash, actually, because it was viewed as permissive. Philip Gove's driving belief was that the dictionary should be descriptivist. It should give the reader explanations for how words are used, not proscriptivist, telling readers what to do with the words. And so Gove wanted everything to be in the dictionary. He defined the F word just like every other word. And the president of Merriam-Webster struck it from the book. It was the one word that the president of Merriam-Webster felt was too offensive, would trigger readers, that would send 11-year-old boys looking it up.
Is language actually changing more quickly nowadays? We seem to be living in hyperspace. It seems like there are new words coming out of social media, out of technology. Is it changing more quickly?
Every era of dictionary has believed that its era is the most fruitful in the creation of new language. Yes, the internet has speeded everything up. So the main difference is that a word can go from obscure or brand new to widely used seemingly overnight. That was never the case, and that has pressed the remaining dictionary publishers to have a more open-minded approach to new terminology.
And what is the future of the dictionary? Language is doing just fine, but the dictionary itself?
Threatened. The most likely way that people look up words is they type a word into a space bar on Google. And 15 years ago, 10 years ago, Google added what are called knowledge panels. They licensed information from dictionary publishers and put their own definition up there. That's usually enough for a reader. And more recently, with the advent of AI, Google's AI overview will take information from around the internet and sum it up. And the business threat there is that commercial dictionaries, the few that are left, need people going to their websites so they can have advertising. That's threatened by these developments technologically. And so what's Merriam-Webster doing? Diversifying. There are a lot of games on its website. There are apps and newsletters and other ways to generate revenue that take it away from the traditional lexicography that the company has been doing since Noah Webster. The hope is that the innovation that Merriam has undertaken will save the business of lexicography for many more generations to come.
We have been talking with Stefan Fatsis. His book is called On a Bridge. Stefan, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thanks, Don. Thanks for having me.
Rom team. Hello, Rom team. Yes.
This is Weekend Edition from NPR News. I'm Don Gagnier. Aisha Roscoe is back next week.
Support for NPR comes from the station. Enrichment. Learn more at Viking.com. From CFP, Certified Financial Planner Professionals, committed to acting in their clients' best interests. Learn more at letsmakeaplan.org. And from the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation at macfound.org.
Thanks for listening to WBEZ on this Sunday morning. I'm Alex Stegman, and for Michael Plente, who is back next week. Thanks a lot for spending part of your Sunday with us. Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me comes your way next, but first in the news, Israel and Hamas are blaming each other for violating the week-old ceasefire in southern Gaza. And many thousands of people turned out for No Kings protests across Chicago and the suburbs yesterday. That just ahead in WBEZ News.
WBEZ is supported by Chicago Women's History Center, celebrating 54 years of documenting Chicago women's activism. FM, Chicago's NPR news station.
From NPR and WBEZ Chicago, this is Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, the NPR News Quiz. I'm Bill Curtis. And I'm Peter Sagal. This week we got a cornucopia of goodness for you. This is as fanatic hundreds of NASCAR champion Jeff Gordon's Funk Shenanigans.
The two sides reported fire today in southern Gaza. Israeli media say Israel responded with airstrikes after troops came under fire outside the southern town of Rafah. NPR's Rob Schmitz reports from Tel Aviv.
According to an Israeli military official not authorized to speak publicly and who spoke in a condition of anonymity, Hamas fighters attacked Israeli soldiers with an anti-tank missile and with gunfire this morning. And according to this official, these fighters did so beyond the so-called yellow line, where the Israeli military is currently positioned in Gaza after pulling back its troops from parts of the territory as part of the ceasefire plan a week ago.
As NPR's Rob Schmitz reporting. People packed the streets of cities and towns across the nation for this weekend's No Kings rallies. Karen Czar of member station WUKY reports on a protest in Kentucky where more than 60% of voters chose Donald Trump for president each time he's been on the ballot.
In Kentucky's second largest city, the No Kings rally was lively but peaceful, filling the city's courthouse square and ending with a march through downtown. Outside Kentucky's state capitol in Frankfort, a similar atmosphere, chanting, music, and dancing that at times felt much like a celebration. Gina Morales said having her voice heard was the most American thing she could ever do.
I think a lot of people are so discouraged that they just shut their mouths, and silence is deadly.
24 official No Kings rallies were held across Kentucky. For NPR News, I'm Karen Czar in Frankfort.
Evacuation efforts are winding down in western Alaska after the remnants of a powerful typhoon devastated remote villages last weekend. Alaska Public Media's Eric Stone reports the focus is now shifting to recovery.
The storm destroyed roughly 90% of the buildings in the village of Kipnuk and about a third of the structures in Quigillinguk. It damaged infrastructure and cultural sites across the remote region. More than 600 people have been evacuated to Anchorage in what the Alaska National Guard calls the largest airlift in state history. At an Army National Guard hangar on Friday, Governor Mike Dunleavy says crews are now assessing when or if residents can return home.
Hopefully over the next few weeks, we'll have a much better understanding about how many people can go back to the villages, and then long-term discussions as to, what is this going to look like over the long term.
Officials are racing against the clock with winter around the corner. For NPR News, I'm Eric Stone in Bethel, Alaska.
This is NPR News in Washington.
50 degrees at 11:04, and it's raining if you're east of 294. Good morning, I'm Alex Stegman. This is WBEZ News. Demonstrations happened across the country, as you heard, for the No Kings movement yesterday. And here in Chicago, many thousands of people gathered at Grant Park. WBEZ's Summer Van Benton was there.
Some protesters, like Maria Corvado, wore inflatable costumes to show this was a peaceful demonstration.
We're out here fighting for our rights, making sure that people see that we're not trying to cross any...
بشینم زیر پای دلم که قولشو بذاره زیر پشمم مثل همون تب روزای اول هنوز از دیدن چشم تو دارم تو زیر سایت آسمون بارونم بسته به حالت خاص چشات هر کی بخواد تو رو ببینه قبلش باید این دیوونه مست رو بخواد سر تو با همه جنگ دلم بزا همه بگن سنگ دلم تو فقط حرف بزن پیش تو که ساکت و بی آهنگ دلم سر تو با همه جنگ دلم بزا همه بگن سنگ دلم تو فقط حرف بزن پیش تو که ساکت و بی آهنگ دلم گوش بده صدای بارون میاد ببین خالی جامون زیاد سکوت جشنم فقط همین گرمی صداتو میخواد هرچی که پشت اون چشمات پیداست خودش حرفاشو میگه چشمی که شیداست واسه همین میخوام قلب تو باشم تا وقتی ساحل دست تو پیداست سر تو با همه جنگ دلم بزا همه بگن سنگ دلم تو فقط حرف بزن پیش تو که ساکت و بی آهنگ دلم سر تو با همه جنگ دلم بزا همه بگن سنگ دلم تو فقط حرف بزن پیش تو که ساکت و بی آهنگ دلم سر تو با همه جنگ دلم بزا همه بگن سنگ دلم تو فقط حرف بزن پیش تو که ساکت و بی آهنگ دلم سر تو با همه جنگ دلم بزا همه بگن سنگ دلم سر تو با همه جنگ دلم بزا همه بگن سنگ
It's similar to a go-kart, but the engine's in the back, has the roll cage, seat belts, maybe somewhat safer than a go-kart, and race on small oval tracks. And so yeah, he came home with that and said, "Hey, look what's outside!" And of course, you eager to get in and go.
Did everybody know? Did you know that this was something you were going to be very good at?
No idea. No, I had no clue. I actually, my first racing experience was previous to that. I raced BMX bikes when I was like 4.5 years old. 4.5.
başından sonra hala da sen varsın. Gözüm görmez yokum çok acı. Bitmiyor geceler, saatler geçmiyor. Sanırım sanki sen ne kadar geceler aşkım düşüyor. Sizi beklerken çaresiz kaldım. Tek suçum
I just imagine you're turning to your dog at 16 or whatever she is. Like, why don't you just pass it? I just wanted to use the brakes when somebody's brake lights come on. Well, just telling you, it is such a pleasure to talk to you. We've asked you to play down your time. We're driving to us. As we have discussed with accomplished drivers, you probably have to think about passengers. If you feel like you're in a platform, this is the most of anyone that I choose for the haircut. You know, this is NASCAR legend is Jack Rudy playing. Kelsey wins a brand new North Carolina. North Carolina. Yeah. Thanks for North Carolina. Exactly. Here's your first question. In 2017, a taxi driver in the UK was pulled over for speeding, and he laid the blame on his passengers, telling the police what? A, they kept farting, and it was so bad he had to get the ride over as quickly as possible. B, one of them said, follow that car, and since there wasn't any car in sight, he sped up to find one. Or C, one said, the acid we just took will kick in 10 minutes, and whether it happens back here or at our home is up to you. Oh my God.
My son is going to be so proud of me for picking A.
Your son should be proud because you're right, yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he said I had to get